He died in a room that cost $40,000 a night. He had enough money to buy a small country, but he couldn't buy one more minute of oxygen. Outside his door stood 3 bodyguards, 4 lawyers, and 0 friends. His children weren't in the room praying for his soul. They were in the hallway, arguing over the percentage of a will they hadn't even read yet. This is the story of the richest man who ever lived, and why his life was a total, miserable failure. If you're currently grinding for a better life, if you're sacrificing your sleep, your relationships, and your sanity for a dream, stop right now. Because you might be building the very cage that will bury you alone. Most people work on their hustle until they have no heart left. Don't be the person who wins the world but loses the reason for being in it. Arthur didn't start out as a monster. He started just like you. He was hungry. He grew up in a house where the walls were thin and the bank notices were thick. He saw his mother cry over a heating bill, and in that moment, something inside him snapped. He made a silent pact with the universe. I will never be weak again. I will be so powerful that nothing can touch me. He started his first company at 24. He had a girl back then, Sarah. She loved the version of him that had nothing but a beat-up car and a dream. He told her, "Give me 1 year, just 1 year of beast mode, and then we'll travel, we'll see the world, we'll be free." But here is the dirty secret about success. It's a moving finish line. 1 year became 3, 3 became 7. Arthur wasn't working for freedom anymore. He was working for the score. He stopped seeing sunsets. He only saw market openings. He stopped hearing music. He only heard the sound of glass ceilings shattering. He became a ghost in his own home. He would come back at 2 a.m., smelling of espresso and adrenaline, looking at Sarah like she was a distraction from his destiny. Eventually, she stopped waiting. The door closed one day, and she didn't come back. Arthur felt a sting, but he buried it under a pile of paperwork. He told himself, "She didn't have the vision. I'll find someone who fits my new life." How many people have you already pushed away in the name of progress? By the time Arthur was 50, he was a titan. He had the private jet with the gold-plated faucets. He had the penthouse where the clouds literally floated past his balcony. He had achieved the 1% dream, but the air is thin at the top. He realized that when you become a god of industry, you stop being a human being. People didn't talk to Arthur, they pitched to him. Every handshake was a contract. Every smile was a request for a favor. He lived in a world of mirrors where everyone reflected what they thought he wanted to see so they could get a piece of his gold. He married a woman who looked perfect on his arm at galas, but they slept in separate wings of a 30-room mansion. They were 2 strangers, sharing a zip code. His children grew up seeing him on the cover of Forbes more than they saw him at the dinner table. He gave them credit cards instead of conversations. He gave them inheritance instead of intimacy. He thought he was working on himself. He was in the gym at 4 a.m. He was reading a book a week. He was optimized. He was a machine, but a machine doesn't know how to love, and a machine doesn't know how to be loved. He sat at a Christmas dinner table that could seat 60 people. The silverware was sterling. The food was prepared by a Michelin star chef, and Arthur sat at the head of that table alone. The silence was so heavy, it felt like it was crushing his lungs. He realized he had spent 30 years building a wall to keep the world out, only to realize he had locked himself in. The end didn't come with a bang. It came with a dull ache in his left arm during a board meeting. As Arthur fell from his leather chair onto the cold marble floor, his last conscious thought wasn't about the merger. It wasn't about his net worth. It was about the smell of rain on the pavement from that summer when he was 20, back when he had nothing. But he had everything. He spent his final days in a sterile hospital suite. The doctors were the best money could buy. The nurses were world class. But money cannot buy a hand to hold when the shadows grow long. His son came by, checked his watch 3 times in 10 minutes, and left to handle a crisis at the firm. His daughter sent a massive bouquet of lilies with a card written by her assistant. Arthur died at 3:14 a.m. The next morning, the world celebrated his legacy. The stock market dipped for a few hours, then recovered. His rivals made toast to his brilliance while secretly celebrating his absence. To the world, he was a winner. To the universe, he was a man who traded a soul for a skyscraper. Look at your hands. Right now, they are still warm. There is still blood pumping through them. You are not Arthur yet. You want to work on yourself? Fine, but listen to me. If your self-improvement doesn't make you a better father, a better friend, or a kinder human, It isn't improvement, it's ego. Don't wait until you're on a deathbed to realize that the hustle was just a distraction from the life you were too afraid to live. Build the business, get the body, make the money, but do not let the gold blind you to the God in the person sitting across from you. If this story hits you where it hurts, it's because you needed to hear it. Don't let this be another video you watch and forget. Write the name of one person you've been neglecting while grinding and commit to calling them today. Send this to one person who is currently losing themselves in the chase. You might save their life. Subscribe if you want the truth, not the hype. Stop building a cage, start building a life.